Yo, what's up? Welcome to Numbers with Jacari. I'm your host, Jacari, which you already know. Call me Ace. And in this episode, we're talking about the number 9 experience in 2024. So if you're born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th, you are a psychic number 9. But also if you have a 9 in your numbers in regards to destiny name or your personal year, but also if you're born on the 19th or the 29th, you could benefit from this information. So I'd recommend you sticking out for this entire emphasis episode so you know what 2024 holds for you. But also this is going to be general information because I don't know your personal numbers, but I'd love to. So if you'd love to work with me, I do have some consultations available. So go ahead and click the link below to get that started. And I'd look forward to chatting with you. But if you're liking what you're hearing, make sure you share it on your socials and tag me at Numbers with Jacari on Instagram or TikTok. All the direct links are in the description of this episode. But let's go ahead and get into it because the number 9's experience in this year is definitely one that is unique. Now, I will say that it does have some similarities to the number 2's experience, so I would recommend checking out that episode as well so you can get a little bit more of a vibe of what's going on. But 9 is very intense because it's ruled by Mars and Neptune, so it's not only very formless and boundless from that Neptune rulership, but it's also very passionate, very action-focused, very dutiful, can be very forceful and ambitious, and a little bit restless and reckless and impulsive can be some of the energies that 9 embodies, and there's honestly nothing wrong with that. And that tied into the number 8's energy brings a very intense power that is very transformative. So 9 can see a lot of just changes all around, not only in the home space, but also within the self, within the relationships. Change and transformation is something that will come up for you very much everywhere this year. Because 8 is very slow moving, it can seem like it happens either very slowly but also very quickly because there's duality everywhere. So 8 has a very slow moving energy, whereas 9 is very quick. So this also highlights your experience with time of feeling like things are moving really fast or very, very slow. So it can be very jarring for you to experience and sometimes bring you even a little bit of anxiety because you don't feel like you know what's going on. So I want you to really work on grounding yourself within your body, not so much your mind, but also finding the balance between mind and body. So I want you to move your body to help cultivate that connection, but also work on your communication skills. That is something that is going to be very beneficial to you this year, especially with 8's connection to things around authority and also therefore legal battles. So if you have any legal battles coming up this year, or if you end up in one, I want you to be able to be prepared to communicate yourself well and also in a way that you're understood and you get what you deserve. So I want you to be able to work on that. And also with that intense energy of 9 and 8 together, it can sometimes get trapped in your body. So even if it's not on a legal side, but it's also just on an energetic side that you find this discomfort or this experience with time, I want you to get some energy work. I want you to get that done, either get it done for you, but also working with somebody to teach you how to do energy work for yourself that works best with you specifically, because everybody has a very custom makeup within their energy. And that's something that I actually do as a spiritual practitioner, but find somebody who you resonate with to get you that energy work so you can really get that regulation that you need. Now, another big theme for you this year is introspection, because I want you to get to know that inner space within you. This highlights emotions, this highlights the mind, this highlights understanding with your self-perception as well. So in that introspection, I want you to take that time to do that shadow work. So it might not necessarily be fun to do the shadow work, but in that shadow work, I also want you to invest in therapy. Now, therapy doesn't always have to be talk therapy. There's all these different types of therapies. So I want you to find one that works for you. Now, with 9 being so action focused and movement focused, it likes to move the body. So I would recommend something that involves that can be something that's high intensity, that can also be something that's a little bit more mellow, but doing something that moves the body can be very beneficial to help you get through that introspection, especially as you go internal. You might not like what you find. Sometimes that just is simply what happens. And it's not to say that you're a bad person. Just because bad things have happened doesn't make that all that you are. I want you to be able to take the things that you're finding and process them and not just let them sit on top of you or even just sit in your body. So I really want you to be able to work through that introspection and move that energy through your body, so that circles back to that energy work that I was just speaking about. Now, there's also emphasis on that inner learning and inner understanding, and also just learning in general. 9's mind is something that is very incredible, so I really do want you to indulge in the things that stimulate the mind. So that can be things that are bright, things that are colorful, watching a lot of movies, watching a lot of shows, playing a lot of games, because 8 is also not 8, lol. 9 is very adventurous and it loves to experience. So I want you to be able to experience those things, but also understand the things that you're experiencing and also learn from the things that you're experiencing, because there's a level of things that you can take from everything. Now, this isn't to say that every waking moment you're taking in all the information and being like, this means da 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 da. No, I'm not saying you gotta go that deep. I'm simply saying that I want you to be able to understand and comprehend and also dig a little bit deeper in regards to the experiences that you're experiencing, because I want you to have a broader understanding of your human experience. I also want you to go on some adventures this year. Now, with 8 being a little bit more slower moving, like I referenced before, you can feel a little bit more stagnant than usual, and that can be very frustrating for you and cause some outbursts, some overindulgence, some recklessness, some impulsivity that is very costly in the long run if it's not very actually beneficial to you. So to combat that, I want you to go on some adventures. This can be traveling very far or also very short distances as well, but I want you to take that time to go on an adventure, to get yourself feeling like things are moving, because they are moving. They're just not moving the way that they once were. Now, this also brings up originality, because adventure is something that is very specific to the number 9, but it also, in that originality, there's also that individuality and that expression. I really want you to step into your authenticity this year, because there's an authenticity that is mirrored in the number 8. I feel like 8 doesn't really get enough credit in regards to its connection to authenticity, because 8 is ruled by not only Pluto, but also Saturn, and Saturn highlights boundaries, and to really have strong boundaries, there's that emphasis around authenticity, because you have to know yourself to some extent, which brings up that introspection and that inner understanding that I spoke about. But I really want you to be able to stand in your own truth, whatever that may look like, and embrace it fully, because there's only one you. There's only one you. So since there's only one you, I want you to stand in that originality and that individuality and express that fully. Now, there's also an experience around confidence and clear communication. Now, I did talk about the expression of that expressing fully, but I also want you to be able to communicate clearly, because with clear communication, you're able to be understood in a way that just body language isn't always able to communicate. Because sometimes, our face don't match our thoughts, our face don't match our feelings, our body language don't match our feelings. Sometimes we might be feeling the happiest, but be looking tired as all get out. Sometimes that just be how it is, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with it, but I want you to be able to really get good with communicating the way that you best communicate, and also in a way that is communicated clearly with others. This can also tie into learning another language. So if you want to learn another language, this would be a great year to start that, honestly, to be able to communicate in other ways with other people. So if you want to do sign language, or if you just want to learn another verbal language, so be it. And this can also tie into understanding psychology a little bit more, and understanding just concepts that have been brought up time and time again, and also traditions and just history as well is brought up in that as well. Now, I will say, in regards to your difficulties this year, I already brought up that experience with time and stagnancy, but also there's experiences with patience, because 8 is a lot more slow moving, like I've mentioned before. And 9 is a little bit more quick with its movements. So that can make this year feel a little bit icky for you sometimes, because things are can feel like they're moving a lot slower than you actually want them to. So allowing yourself to find something to do while something else is happening, and build yourself a nice long list of options of things that you can do while waiting, because there's going to be some times that you really just got to be patient. So this can be things that you do in the house, this can be things that you do with other people, this can be things that you do that requires you to go somewhere. Make yourself a nice long list of experiences that you can do and things that you can do to allow yourself to not feel so much of that stagnancy and not be so frustrated by that patience. Now, this also brings up self-regulation. I think I did mention just a little bit of that emotional side, but self-regulation is very important for you this year, because with the intensity that 8 and 9 will bring of that power, and I mean intense power, it can cause you to feel very, very overwhelmed, extremely anxious, very uncertain, very chaotic, and feel like you just have to impulsively do everything. I want you to be able to get clear within yourself of what you actually need to do in that intensity, because it's not always just doing the impulsive thing or doing the reckless thing. Sometimes there is actually something that is beneficial for you to do in that intense energy, and I want you to be able to find that via that self-regulation. Now, there's also an emphasis around power dynamics and legal battles, so playing around with that, however that shows up in your personal life, I would definitely say watch out for that, but also be very intentional with how you approach it. Because again, impulsivity is something that is at an all-time high for you this year. I want you to be able to play your cards well so that you're not getting the shitty end of the stick. Now, some of my suggestions outside of moving your body and the other things that I recommended, I would recommend you reconnect to positive experiences, and also, if you don't have so many of those, cultivate new ones. What deems a positive experience for you? Getting clear on those things can put you in a position where you're able to really understand what it's like to experience something on a positive side. So again, this is where another list comes in, because I want you to be able to have something to revert back to in regards to, okay, this is what things I can do that are positive to help me feel these positive emotions, and also indulge and remember them. So this can also tie into making diary entries. This can be visual, this can be audio, this can be written, of good experiences that you have, so you have something that you can look back on and be like, wow, this was an amazing experience. I had so much fun doing these things. Because also all of the numbers of 9 and 8 lean towards pessimism. So you might not always feel like things are going your way. So I want you to be able to have something tangible to look back on, to allow yourself to see, hey, this was a fun time. And I would recommend visual would be best, because also you talking to you, or also written, just something that you can really see yourself resonating with, and when you will hear it again in the future, that you'll actually accept and listen to. Now, another thing I will say is allowing things to change. I think I spoke on this a little bit for a second, but I want you to allow things to change, because you don't have control over everything. You can't control it all, but control what you can. And one of those things that you can control is yourself to some extent. So I want you to really focus on the things that you can change, and allow the rest to change as it does, because it will change. Things grow, things change, things evolve, and don't tether so tightly to everything that you can't control. Especially allow yourself to experience, allow yourself to indulge and feel the good feelings while you feel them, but things will change ultimately, and that is something that you have to accept. And this also brings up that self-regulation. So I don't want that to hit you so hard. I want that to be something that you're able to really take in and be like, I experienced this great thing. This is a great experience. I had so much fun. And if it changes, it changes. Now, in regards to the months for this year, January, February, April, and October and November are some cute ones to be noted of. There might be a little bit of impactfulness to them. There's also May, July, August, and September. Now, starting off with May, the intensity with May is half of 8. We're in a universal 8 year, so that brings that a very strong relationality there. There's also January in there that I would like to throw in regards to intensity, and 9, it would be not that 9, your 9, and then the universal 9 of January plus the universal 8, and that is going to bring a lot of emphasis around power dynamics and also legal spaces. So January might be a little bit intense in regards to those things. Now, in regards to May, like I was saying, there's going to be a lot of emphasis around creativity and forward movement, evolvement, and revolution for you that month, because of how 9 and 4 work together, as well as how those numbers interact with 8. It brings a lot of change. So again, allowing yourself to control what you can control, because things will change ultimately. So you might see a lot of that happening in May. Now, when we get to July is a universal 6 month. 6 and 9 together create a very beautiful creativity, a passion, and intimacy. So I want you to be able to indulge in those spaces. So be creative, be intimate, interact with people, cultivate new relationships. This would be a great time to do that, or even going on retreats and allowing your relationships to have a space to indulge in more creativity and even more intimacy. That would be something great for you. And then also August, being a universal 7 month, that brings up the pattern of 7, 8, 9, because we're talking about your number 9, and we're going to be in a Universal 8 year. That brings a lot of power, a lot of intensity, and also a lot of inner work. So I want you to be able to take that time to do those therapies, do that shadow work, do that spiritual work, that energy work, because August is likely to bring even more of that. And that can look like a lot of different things. So I want you to be able to be very well regulated by that time, so you can be able to cultivate whatever you are trying to create for yourself. Now, finally, we do have September, which is going to be a Universal 8 month, and that brings that 8 again of that Universal 8 year, and that brings a lot of intensity, a lot of themes around authority figures, a lot of emphasis and experiences around time and stagnancy and movement. So this is where I'm talking about the adventures that I want you to take, and being able to have that list of things that you want to do and can do to help you not feel so stagnant, because September might feel a little bit of that. And also the same thing for October, or rather not the same things, but I would like to point out October, because it's going to be that Universal 9 month. So we're diving into your natural energy of that 9. So we might see a lot more 9 themes around duty, around force, around action, around movement, around impulsivity, around ambition, and so much more. And if you want to learn more about numbers 0 through 9, I highly recommend checking out my Intro to Numerology guide. I also teach you how to calculate your personal years in there in multiple different numerology systems. Now, there's so much that 9 has to offer, so I really recommend that. But also, if you have a personal 9 and you want to learn more about that, I would recommend tapping in with me, because I do offer readings and services. But I do hope you definitely enjoy this. Share this with somebody who has a number 9 or is interested in numbers, or you found this entertaining and you want to share it anyway. Whatever the case may be, regardless, thank you so much for listening, and follow me on Instagram, on TikTok at Jacari, and I will most definitely catch you in the next one. Peace.